Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to day three. Congratulations, you've made it to the third day. The only reason I say that is because we start off with the best of intentions, and unless those are deep-seated intentions, unless we have a really good purpose for what we're doing, things can fall by the wayside. And so many people start off with the idea of wanting to read the Bible through and they figure they'll follow the plan, they'll do it for a year. But it's amazing how priorities can shift and how circumstances can change everything. And so I just want to congratulate you. You made it to day three. It takes 30 days though. 30 days to form a new habit. 30 days for the brain to lay down some new pathways. So congratulations on day three, but let's aim for day 30. Okay, going ahead. So on day three, we've read through Genesis 8 through 11, chapters 8, 9, 10, and 11. There's a lot of stuff going on here. But I want to pick up. Remember, we're telling the story here. This is the unfolding story of from creation to redemption to glory. So this is, in case you've never had the big picture before, this is what we're unfolding here. We're going to take a year. We're going to look at all the scripture and we're going to understand all the pieces. So we um, we just here to pick up where we left off yesterday. Uh, God, the Creator, because that's all we know Him as at this point in our reading. We have no other revelation of him other than he is the creator. We have not been given his name yet. All we know of him as the creator. And what he stated as he saw the whole affair of everything as it had developed after the fall, after the rebellion, after the very poor decision that Eve made and everything fell apart, there has been this ramping up. It's been terrible, and God looked at this and He said that every thought of humanity was evil. That's where it had gotten to. Every thought of humanity was evil. It's where we are today. Nothing's changed. Every thought of humanity is evil, as defined by the Creator. See, the thing is that humanity doesn't know. Humanity doesn't understand the rebellion. Humanity doesn't understand its condition. And this is what we're unpacking here. And the steps that the Creator took to reveal that to humanity. So the fall went beyond humanity, though, and the whole earth was filled with violence. That's what we ended off yesterday. The whole earth was filled with violence. The thing is that the Creator restrained himself. He showed a great deal of grace. He chose Noah as a seed for the start over, okay, for the reset, if you want to put it that way. The problem is in the reset, what happened is that um, the violence is toned down because now there's fewer. There's fewer animals, there's fewer people, so it has toned down the passion of it, but it has not removed nature, humanity's new nature of rebellion. The brokenness is still there. Punishment was not going to remove this brokenness, and that's what you really need to hold on to going forward. Nothing is going to fix this. The Creator can give as many consequences as he wants. He can call humanity and all of creation, but nothing is going to fix this brokenness. Just let that set in. Nothing is going to fix it. So we're going to pick it up here in Genesis chapter 8, verse 20 and 21, because we have Noah coming off. They've made it through the flood. They God has remembered them. He's protected them. He's given them instruction. He let them know when it was safe to come out of the ark. And so now have Noah coming out. What does he do? The first thing, Noah built an altar to the Lord. So the first thing he wants to do is give thanks, to give thanks for the protection and the safety, and that they've made it through this. He took some of the clean large animals and some of the clean birds and placed entirely burned offerings on the altar. The Lord smelled the pleasing scent. See, there's something good here. The Lord smelled the pleasing scent. It is worship. It is offering. It is worship that costs. And the Lord thought to himself, I will not curse the fertile land anymore because of human beings, since the ideas of the human mind are evil from their youth. I will never again destroy every living thing as I have done. So the Lord's looking at this, and there is this sense of hope in this worship, because we were designed for worship. And Noah, being the righteous, as much as anybody can be righteous at this time, he is righteous. God is the center of his life. He takes the time, he worships. This just reminds God. It reminds him of his whole thing, and he looks at this, and he just states, punishing is not going to fix this. It's not going to fix this. I'm taking the curse off of this fertile land, because I have to find another solution here, because this isn't going to do it, because the human mind is evil from youth. It's filled. The ideas of the human mind are evil from their youth. So even Noah here has his limitations. There's limitations here, and we're going to get to that in a second. But we have here in Genesis 9, 1-3. Okay, there's a covenant coming, and so God is looking at him, and God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fertile, multiply, and fill the earth." Does that sound familiar? It's exactly what he commanded Adam and Eve to do. It's exactly what he commanded humanity to do: be fertile, multiply, and fill the earth. But here there's a difference. He had given man dominion over nature, but in charge of it. Okay, he created humanity in his own image, so that they could be in charge of the creation of the earth, and to be in charge was to be responsible for. But now what is said to Noah is different, because the whole part about being created in his image, that has fallen apart. Still, the capacity is there, but the rebellion has broken that. The rebellion has put us under now the power of the rebellion. It has dominated us. It has enslaved us, so that we can't live our nature. We can't live who we were designed to be. And so all of the animals on the earth will fear you. That was not said to Adam. Will fear you and dread you. It's a blessing, but a limited blessing. So humanity is still given dominance over, but because of our brokenness, it's going to come out different. Instead of being charged and responsible and looking after, now it's going to be a different dominance, where we are going to use and abuse, and God knows that. His eyes are wide open. He knows exactly what's going to happen. All of the animals on the earth will fear you and dread you. So it's like a prophecy. It's a prophetic. He's telling us how it's going to work out. All the birds in the skies, everything crawling on the ground, and all of the sea's fish, they are in your power. But because of our brokenness and twistedness, we're going to misuse that power. It's not going to be with the heart of Father. Everything that lives and moves will be your food. So Adam, the first part of humanity in the beginning before the flood, vegetarians, okay, didn't eat any meat whatsoever. Um, Now, everything that lives and moves will be your food. Everything that lives and moves will be your food. Just as I gave you the green grasses, I now give you everything. So, like Adam, but not like Adam. But there are some things here that is important as we come into this new covenant now. Um, he underlines the whole sanctity of life. In Genesis 9, we're just looking at verses 5, 6, but there's quite a bit of there. And I just wanted to highlight this. I will surely demand your blood for a human life, for from every living thing I will demand it. From humans, from a man for his brother, I will demand something for a human life. Whoever sheds human blood, by a human his blood will be shed. For in the divine image, God made human beings. So he's emphasizing this because remember, every idea from a human mind is evil. So he's putting in this. It's a consequence. It's like don't touch each other. Violence. God hates violence. The flood came because the whole earth was filled with violence, and he is saying here, I'm not going to tolerate any harm that you bring to each other. I'm not going to do it. There's a sanctity of life, which is our concern today when we look at babies being killed before they have an opportunity to breathe, and now where the state is sanctioning suicide and really devaluing life. And as long as there's air in our lungs, there is value to that life. Even if you don't see it, there is value to that life because our Creator says there is. So then we come into the new covenant. Okay, so we understand we have these responsibilities, and God is going to make this promise to us in Genesis 9, um, verses 9 to 11. I am now setting up my covenant with you, because this is what God does. It's a covenant. It's a relationship thing. Some people say, well, it's a contract. It's not a contract. A contract is a different nature than what a covenant is. A covenant, um, it, it's a relational thing here. It's coming into relationship with each other, where we're saying, I'm responsible for you and you're responsible for me. These are the promises I'm making you, and these are the promises you're making me. And here he says, I am now setting up my covenant with you, with your descendants, with every living being with you, with the birds, with the large animals, with all the animals of the earth, leaving the ark with you. I will set up my covenant with you so that never again will all life be cut off by floodwaters. There will never again be a flood to destroy the earth. The reason I'm pointing this out to you is because going forward, you need to understand that this is how the Creator operates. He operates according to covenants. He operates according to these promises. That's so very important. Going forward, you have to understand that promises, that is that is the what's the word I'm looking for? It's the money of the kingdom. The promises are the money of the kingdom. That's how things work. It's according to these promises. And when we accept Jesus, when we bend our knee, we are promising to serve him. We're promising to love him. That's our part of the covenant that we're coming into. And this is how God operates according to covenants. So then there's often as well what he sets up is are these symbols. It is something to indicate a reminder. You'll see as we go through, especially in the Old Testament, they would set up some kind of markers or a pillar of some sort, or they would do something that would be a reminder of this covenant. And right from the beginning, this is what the Creator does. And he says here in chapter 9, verses 12 to 13, this is a symbol of the covenant that I'm drawing up between me and you and every living thing with you on behalf of every future generation. I have placed my bow in the clouds. It will be the symbol of the covenant between me and the earth. That's a covenant that's still in effect. It's still in effect to this day. It is a very long lasting covenant that the earth would never be flooded again. And it also reminds us that our God is a God of covenants. And quite often, when He gives us a covenant, when we enter into a covenant with Him, there is some kind of marker. I'm just wondering, what are the personal covenants that He has with you, and what are the markers that He's given to you? What are the things in your past that you look back on and you remember? You remember Israel had all kinds of them. They had all kinds of markers, signposts, if you want. They had the miracles in Egypt. They had the partings of the water. They had the provision in the desert. They had these things that they would always look back on, and their feasts, their feasts of remembrances, were always to look back on these road signs and markers. And quite often, He gives these to us, and we don't understand what He's doing, and we let it go, and we forget, so that when we look back, we can't find the markers because we forgot about them. We don't celebrate them. And going forward, I really suggest that you have some kind of book or something where you journal, where you mark down these momentous occasions, these things, these life-changing things in your life, and look around and see what symbol, what thing He's given to you to hold on to and remember. And that's what you record. That's what you should be recording. So again, this is us laying down the groundwork so we can understand going forward. We'll keep reflecting back on these things. We'll keep reflecting back. Yes, our God is the God of covenant. He's the God of promises. Yes, He sets these monuments up. He sets these things up, and we'll see it all through as we're reading and studying these things. So then we get into, again, this has to be absolutely emphasized. There's a reason why Jesus came. And He came because there is nothing that could repair our brokenness. There's nothing could redeem us and restore us back to where our Creator wants us to be. And so we see this. Noah comes off the ark, right? He comes off the ark. The first thing he does is worship. But what's the second thing he does? He plants a vineyard and he gets drunk. In Genesis 9, verses 20 to 21, Noah, a farmer, made a new start and planted a vineyard. He made a new start there, planted a vineyard. He drank some of the wine, became drunk, took off his clothes in his tent. Ham, Canaan's father, saw his father naked and told his two brothers who were outside. Okay, so like it's one thing that Ham saw that, but he should have let that go. The fact that he turned around and he shared that, put his father in a place of shame. But let's back up the truck, shall we? Because why did that happen in the first place? Because he got drunk. Because he gave himself over to something else that would control him. He left himself in that condition because he allowed something else to take control of him, something else to affect his mind. There's nothing wrong with alcohol, but alcohol that is excessive will it alters your mind. It's like drugs alters your mind. These things, there's nothing that's supposed to have any control of us whatsoever. This is just part of the weakness of humanity's brokenness. This is what happens. We're so broken. We look for distractions. I understand what Noah's just gone through. He's lost everybody. All of his neighbors are gone. Everything is gone. Who knows what they're seeing when they look around them? Um, what's the body count? Like what are they finding as the waters drain? Who knows what he's facing? And so instead of turning in worship, instead of turning to God, he's looking for something that will dull his senses. And this is part of the brokenness, where we're supposed to run to our Father who completes us. We run to things that will dull our senses because we don't want to think, we don't want to feel, we don't want to experience these things. So then we go from there, and Noah and his descendants are spread out. Okay, they now are forming these nations, and the nations are spreading out. But in Genesis chapter 11, verse 4, we have the account of Babel, the Tower of Babel. Some will say Babel. I pronounce it Babel. And here we find that the people have gathered. Now, remember what the command to Adam and Eve were, to humanity, and the command to Noah was to multiply and fill the earth. That means spreading out, to multiply, fill the earth. But here in this a place of Babel, there is a gathering. And when they gather, look at what they do. In verse 4, it says, "Come, let's build for ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the sky, and let's make a name for ourselves." Okay, there's something dangerous right there. Let's make a name for ourselves. Remember, there should only be one who gets the glory, and that's the Creator. Because everything they have is from Him. Everything that they are is from Him. Everything is about Him. And they're saying, let's make a name for ourselves. And then look, so that we won't be dispersed over all the earth. In direct contrast, in direct obedience to what the Creator has told them to do. He needs the earth filled so it doesn't become wild. He needs the earth filled so the creation can be looked after. He needs it filled. But what do? They want to gather. They want to make a name for themselves instead of Him getting the glory. And they don't, they want to make a name for themselves so they won't be dispersed. They want to become a mighty people. A mighty people, so they have the privilege of being together. So this is a little disconcerting. And so we have in verse 6 and 7, and understand that this is going to be the mentality of humanity going forward. And so the Creator looks and He says, there is now one people, and they all have one language. This is what they have begun to do. Look at this. This is what they give. They're in this unity of one people and one language. They're coming together. They're doing exactly opposite of what I told them to do, and they want to become. They want all the glory. They, you may think it's egotistical, but in the scheme of things, there's only one who deserves the glory because everything is from Him. All the air in our lungs is from Him. Everything that we have is from Him. All the resources are from Him. The only one who should receive the glory is the Creator. Again, I'm referring Him to the Creator because that's where we are in Scripture right now. That's all they know Him as the Creator. And so this is a concern because it's going to lead to more depravity. It's going to lead to greater depravity. It's going to lead to more wickedness. It's going to lead to all kinds of schemes and things. And this is not good. God is going to work on a better solution here, but it's going to take time. And this is not good that in the very beginning, they're already doing this. They're already setting themselves up as gods. They're already taking that glory from themselves. They're already disobeying Him, and they're more concerned about themselves and building a city than they are of taking care of creation. So He says, come, let's go down and mix up their language. So let's go down, mix up their language there so they won't understand each other's language. See, unity is really important, but unity has to be focused upon God. Unity, this is part of the problem, I guess, that in the brokenness, um, In the brokenness, we don't understand unity anymore. We've lost that. So when we're adopted by God, when we're made into a new creation, when we're brought into the kingdom, we're still not understanding how important unity is, how unity works. And this is where we have to submit ourselves to the Spirit so we can understand this. So unity is supposed to happen under the kingship of Jesus Christ. And that's where we honor one another, we respect each other, we love each other, we sacrifice for each other. But when we're coming out of a brokenness, we're coming out of a broken system, we're coming out of a broken world, we're coming out of a place where unity just does not happen. Um, that can be hard. It can be hard for us to understand that. And then we begin the the the, the, the beginning of the story of redemption. Okay, so we've had the fall, we've had all this going on. We get to see what humanity is capable of doing when left to their own devices. We've seen a restart. We've seen the brokenness is still there. So God has a plan, and it's going to start with Shem. So here in Genesis 11:10, it starts. These are Shem's descendants, and it's listed. And as we get down close to the end of the list, you're going to see Abram. You can see Abram's name there. And that's where we're going to pick it up when we come back to Genesis. But we are actually going to take a detour because it is thought that at this stage, right here, as we start reading about Abram, Abram is in the land of the Chaldeans, and so is a person named Job. And so we're gonna in over the next few days, week or so, we're going to take a look at Job because Job is going to reveal a lot to us about who God is, the whole spiritual setup, how the invisible realm works, and what faith looks like. What yeah, it's gonna be good. So let's hold on to this. These are the lessons that we're learning here from this. It's a good groundwork has been planted. We understand what God desired. We understand how man had blew it, how humanity blew it. We see the character of humanity. We see already the grace that God is showing. We see now that God knows a punishment is not going to restore humanity back to him, and he wants humanity restored back to him. So he's starting in on a new plan, and that new plan starts with the descendants of Shem. So not bad for this today. So you guys have a blessed day. I'm glad you're on this journey with me. God bless.